the loudest voice in your head isn't the wisest? What if your thoughts, those constant whispers shaping your feelings and guiding your choices, aren't always telling you the truth? And what if the greatest source of your stress, doubt, or unhappiness isn't the world outside, but the stories you silently believe inside? Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Nguyen. At its heart, this book is about freedom, not the freedom of changing jobs, moving to another city, or earning more money, though those things might come, but the deeper freedom of not being ruled by your own thoughts. It challenges one of the most common assumptions most people carry, that our thoughts are facts. Instead, the book invites us into a radical realization. Thoughts are just thoughts. They rise, they fall, and they don't have to define who you are or how you feel. Let's explore the key ideas in a way that's both digestible and practical. The nature of thought. Thoughts are temporary visitors in the mind. They show up, stay for a while, and eventually leave. They are not always accurate reflections of reality. Just because you think, "I'm not good enough," doesn't mean it's the truth. The problem comes when we confuse thoughts with reality and let them dictate our emotions and actions. Have you ever believed a thought so strongly, only to realize later it wasn't true at all? The root of suffering. One of the most powerful claims in the book, suffering comes not from circumstances, but from believing negative thoughts about those circumstances. Two people can face the same challenge. Say, losing a job. One feels hopeless, while the other sees an opportunity. The difference? Their relationship to their thoughts. Pain may be inevitable in life, but suffering, the mental replay, the judgment, the doom scenarios, is optional. Key idea. It's not the storm outside that traps us, it's the storm we create inside. The illusion of control. We often think, if I could just control my thoughts, I'd finally have peace. But the truth is, trying to control what you think is like trying to stop the wind, exhausting and impossible. Instead, the book teaches, thoughts don't need control, they need observation without attachment. Just as you let clouds pass in the sky without trying to rearrange them, you can let thoughts drift by without grabbing onto them. Practical takeaway. When an anxious thought arises, instead of wrestling with it, notice it. There's that thought again. Then let it float away. The nature of self. Another groundbreaking idea. You're not your thoughts. Thoughts are passing events, but you are the awareness in which they arise. This means you're not the anxious thought, not the insecure story, not the inner critic. The more you rest in that awareness, the less you get dragged into the drama of your mind. If you are not your thoughts, then who are you really? The secret to inner peace. Peace doesn't come from fixing every problem in your life. It comes from changing your relationship with thought. When you stop believing every thought, you stop being yanked around by fear, doubt, or judgment. Peace is your natural state. It's what remains when you're not lost in thought. List of shifts toward peace. 1. Notice the thought. 2. Recognize it's not necessarily true. 3. Decide not to engage with it. 4. Return to the present moment. The power of presence. The book reminds us that the present moment is the only reality. Thoughts drag us into the past. I should have done better. Or the future. What if I fail? But life only unfolds now. When we anchor ourselves in the present, through breath, awareness, or simply noticing, we step out of the storm of thinking and into clarity. Practical exercise. Next time you catch yourself spiraling in thought, pause and ask, what is actually happening right now? Living beyond limiting beliefs. Many people carry invisible cages built from thought. I'm not smart enough. I'll always struggle. I can't change. This book dismantles those cages by showing beliefs are just thoughts we've repeated enough times to take as truth. Once you see them as thoughts, not reality, they lose their power. True freedom is not about changing every belief, but about realizing you're never bound by them in the first place. Powerful question to ask yourself. What would I do if I stopped believing this limiting thought? Happiness without conditions. We often chase happiness through external conditions. I'll be happy when I get the job. I'll be happy when I'm in a relationship. I'll be happy when I fix myself. But the message here is clear. Happiness is not something to earn, it's something to uncover. When you stop believing the thoughts that say you're broken, behind, or not enough, happiness naturally shines through. It's not about creating happiness, but about removing the mental clutter that hides it. Practical wisdom for daily life. The book isn't just theory, it offers everyday applications. When you feel anxious, pause, notice the thought fueling the anxiety, and remember, it's only a thought. When you feel stuck, ask if the obstacle is real, or just a story your mind is spinning. When overwhelmed, return to the present. What is actually in front of you now? Mini checklist for handling thoughts. Am I treating this thought as fact or just noticing it? Is this thought helping me or hurting me? What happens if I simply let this thought pass? The simplicity of truth. One of the most liberating insights is its simplicity. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need years of self-improvement, endless affirmations, or constant mental battles. The truth is already here. Your thoughts are not you, and you don't need to believe them. From that simplicity, life becomes lighter, freer, and surprisingly joyful. Peace of mind is not something you achieve. It's what remains when you stop believing everything you think. So, if your thoughts aren't always the truth, then what stories have you been carrying that no longer deserve your belief? And if peace is always waiting beneath the noise of your mind, are you willing to let go and finally listen to the silence? This is BitBooks, where big ideas come in small bites. But tell me, which thought will you stop believing today?